Today we are going to play with the mini cutting board. This is our 4x4-ish square cutting board. And the napkin pattern that I'm going to use today is one of the Christmas designs. Oh, come let us adore him, Christ the Lord. So I'm going to be using some ribbon that I just have in my collection. I'm going to be using just a burlap bow that I have. If you're going to do this tutorial with me, you're going to need obviously a paintbrush, your Mod Podge, some water for your brush, some kind of either saran wrap or this is a Ziploc bag. And I did another tutorial this morning and it was sticking, so I've turned it inside out. That's why it looks a little funky today. I'm going to need the glue gun today, scissors, and then the technique I'm going to be using for edging, you have a sandy block. Sandy paper works as well. You can also use a nail file if that's all that you have. So the first thing that we're going to do is prepare the napkin. So our napkins are 3-ply, and we just have the one design on them because they are custom printed here in the US. And so we are only able to print on the front of the napkin. So we're just going to use this design here. I'm going to cut it first so that I have a little bit less to work with running around there. And then this time I need to take the top layer off. Usually I kind of edge around this, but for what I'm doing here, I'm gonna just Mod Podge the whole thing on there, and then I'm going to do the edging. I'm kind of changing my mind as I go along here. I'm gonna actually untie this because I'm thinking when I was laying this design out earlier, I may paint the top white. Let's see how translucent it is. If it's a little too translucent, I might paint the top white. I'm just worried about there being like some weirdness up on top here, but let me just play with it for a second. We're only gonna be using the top layer of the design. So these are, again, 3-ply, so we're just gonna gently pull off the top layer, as that is all that we're going to be using. Let's just say all that I'm gonna be using. You might be using a different napkin, but we just need that top layer. So, and then gently pull that off. We'll just put this other to the side, and then I'm gonna kind of see, because I need to make sure, kind of trying to get an eyeball of how it's gonna look. You know, I'm not gonna paint it, I'm gonna leave it. Okay, so I'm kind of just eyeballing where this is gonna be. Now, what is kind of cool about these is they have one side that has nothing on it, and then it has the other side that actually does have a frame in. So you could do both sides different designs and use either side, or you could just use the one side. You could paint the outside, put your design in the middle. For the one that I'm doing, I'm going to be using the outside, and this is really nice mango wood, and these are on the website, so I'll put the link for those below so that you know where to get them. But for right now, we're just going to bust in here and get this attached. So I'm going to start with a thin layer of the Mod Podge. Actually, I'm going to do what my son does. I'm just going to cover the whole thing. Feeling a little reckless. We're just going to go with it here. Just a light layer. And you don't have to worry as much about the edges because we're going to go over those in just a little bit. So I probably jinxed myself a little here. When you do the whole thing like that, you are going to want to make sure that you get it as centered as you can. On this one, I just want to make sure that I'm not losing any of my lettering on the top or the bottom, and that I am as centered as I could be. So I didn't quite center that, so I'm going to just gently pull it up and try again. So that is one thing when you go all out and stick it on like that you do have the chance of it not exactly being centered the first time. And because the coat is so light, this might be drying on me, but we're gonna find out real quick here. So this is where the saran wrap or your Ziploc baggie comes in, and I'm just working out any of the bubbles. Now I'm particularly focusing on where the words are. I don't want the words to have bubbles in them. So that will probably be the last time I cover the whole thing. If you've watched any of my tutorials before, you know I always do the center line and then I work my way out. And I did a tutorial with my son earlier today on the pennant kits for the kids, and that little booger just went for it and it worked. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna have the braveness of a child. And yeah, it's not working for me. So I'm gonna go back to my just do the center line and then work it through. I don't think I move as fast as he does, so I couldn't get it all the way on there in time before it started drying and sticking. So I'm just going back through and lifting up the places that aren't as stuffed as I want them to. And then I'm just gonna keep working this out from the middle. And I need to do the bottom. I have been applying and signing up for vendor events for the holidays. And between that and having the Christmas napkins this month for Christmas in July being released and designing the napkins for the rest of the year, I'm kind of just ready for the Christmas spirit. Like, just bring it on, I'm ready. Okay, I just want to make sure everything is where I want it. I'm gonna add a little bit more here. Just because I'm trying to catch that little bit of holly here. Now on this design that I'm using, you can see the holly wreath is going to kind of go in and out of it. It's obviously the whole thing didn't fit on it, but that's kind of the look I'm going for. So I'm going to give that just a minute to kind of get dry and tack up a little bit. And then if I didn't mention, I hope I mentioned, for this one I do need the glue gun. And I have this all. So this is a technique I have not used before, but I've seen it and I'm super excited to try it because I use the sandpaper a lot. I make shelving, I work with wood a lot. I don't like doing the fire method in the house. So that's what I'm using on this one. And I'm really loving how it's giving it that kind of aged edge. So I'm just taking the block. Again, you could use a fingernail file, like one of the ones you just throw in the cardboard ones that you just throw in your purse would work just as well. And I'm just going through and just kind of sawing off the edges. And because this already has like a rounded edge, it's gonna work really well with that. Oh my gosh, I love how that's turning out. You can see how it's coming together there. And we'll just keep working our way around here. Let's see. Oh, I thought this one part was going to be hard, but it really wasn't like that. Probably because I'm using a block. I do like the block rather than a piece of sandpaper because I can really work around the edges and get in these little nooks and corners here of the cutting board. Okay, so I've worked all the way around and I did leave this top. I was gonna try and see if I could just kind of sand it off. And yes, I can. So you can see that just worked great right around the edge. So because I got the Mod Podge glue all the way to the edge, we have a really nice edge all the way around. That is beautiful. So I'm gonna push this aside. I am gonna put one more coat of Mod Podge over it so that can sit for a moment because I'm gonna be adding some ribbon to the outside here. One of the reasons I decided to release part of the Christmas napkins in July is because I was so excited I literally couldn't wait all the way until like even fall to release them, because one, I'm in love with the design. Two, I love Christmas. And then three, I was so worried that if I released them all at the same time, I would sell out, and depending on how backed up my printer is, I can't always get things turned around right away. Sometimes it takes 2 weeks is my average. Sometimes it takes 4 even. I've had to wait up to 8 weeks to get designs. And so I just did not want to take that chance of not being able to get them to you. And then, sorry, I just keep reworking this bottom because when I am peeling it up, it's bubbling, and I'm not liking that. And I think it's because it's tacky. So I'm gonna fight the perfection. You see me fighting it? I'm not fighting it very hard, huh? Okay. I'm just gonna keep putting some on. I'm not giving up. And I'm gonna try and just do it with my finger nice and light. You do have to be careful on these because you can overwork it, and what will start to happen is the ink from the napkin will start to like bleed and smear, especially on the black. So I'm really trying to not get too crazy about it, and maybe when it's a little more dry, I will mess with it some more. But for right now, I'm gonna put it aside. I'm gonna tell the perfectionist in me to just stop already. And all right, the next thing that we're going to do is I'm gonna use this ribbon to go around the edges, and then I'm gonna make sure that I really don't want to touch the front while it's drying. And I'm gonna close my Mod Podge so we don't dry out there. And I'm gonna start at the bottom because I'm not gonna be hanging this. I'm going to be using it on my tier tray as a leaner. If I was going to be hanging it, I might start at the top so you can't see where the seam is, but since I'm gonna be using it as leaning on something, I'm just gonna start at the bottom here. And I am just going to line my ribbon just around the outside of the mini cutting board. Now these cutting boards were so fun. I was so excited to find them. I couldn't wait. I bought them yesterday. I added them to the site last night, and then obviously I just couldn't wait to do something with them. So here I am today. I only have 40 of these total. So when they're gone, they're gone. I don't think I'll be able to get, well, I'm pretty sure I won't be able to get these ones again. So it was kind of a special buy. So if you're watching this and we still have them, snag them. I will have another size in this year's Crafting and Christ Club kit. So that is the kit that people join monthly. You'll get a whole craft with everything that you need to create it. And then you'll also get that month's napkin club, which is 10 napkins. They're seasonal, so each month changes. You'll get 10 napkins, 5 new designs, so 2 of each, and then you'll get the craft. So in that crafting kit is a similar mini cutting board, similar to this one, but it's bigger. It's a rectangle, I think it's 6x4. And so if you miss out on this one, then that's another option if you can get in the Crafting and Christ kit by December. So, just stuck my finger right in that glue. Just working this around, and I'm going to see where I need to cut it. So I'm hoping I can just line that right up so I don't have a bump at the bottom. We'll see see how good I did here. Just adding the last little bit of glue. Oh my gosh, that's dang near perfect. The stripes even almost lined up. I couldn't do that again if I tried, I tell you. Okay. So I've got my ribbon all the way around it with 50 little glue strands. Don't you love the little spider webs? Okay, the next thing that I am going to do is I wanted my bow to match. I wanted to tie in this bow to match the ribbon. So I'm going to just go around it with this matching ribbon. And I'm just wrapping it around on the back, and then I'm going to tack it down. I like this ribbon because it kind of reminded me of the candy cane a little bit. A little tighter, so just pinched it a little tighter. Squish it down. I have not the super hot glue gun, because if I did, I would just be burning myself all the time. I'm a klutz when it comes to the glue gun. I don't know what it is. I also was telling my husband the other day, my husband was working in the garage and he obviously accidentally was helping me with some shelves. He put the nail gun through his finger. It was a crime scene in our garage. Luckily, it wasn't bad enough. We didn't have to go to the doctor or anything. But I was telling him when I was in elementary, it reminded me, I was sitting in class and I was playing with a stapler. And we had like a teacher's aide that was sitting in the back of the class, and she, I guess, was watching me. I wasn't paying attention. I didn't know I was playing around with the stapler, and I stapled through my finger. I couldn't even tell you how I did it. I'm such a klutz when it comes to some things. I stapled through my finger, and then, you know, I'm like 3rd grade, so I'm trying to play it cool that I didn't just staple through my finger, but I'm like mild panicking. And she comes over and asks me if I'm okay, and I'm fighting back tears, and I'm like, yeah, I'm okay. But I was just like, mortified, but then on the other hand, I was so glad that someone was paying attention to me. I don't know what the heck I was doing. Only I could staple myself with a stapler. Like, just one of these little guys. Just one of these. I don't know what I was doing. But anyway, back to our little craft here. So what I'm doing now, I've tied the little string back on, and I'm just kind of trying to decide where I want the bow, if I want it a little off center. I definitely kind of wanted to hide these little things, and you could do rope around here, any of the jute twine or something, and like kind of cover that part with jute twine if you wanted to, but just for today, I'm trying to keep it a little bit simple. I don't know. Honestly, I kind of like that. I wonder, I don't think I have any, as I last minute look, sometimes I have like scraps over here. I do have some of this. To see like what it would look like if my jute twine is like, this one is really thin. I seem to either have really thin or I have like 5mm, which is like super thick. So I'm just kind of looking to see if I want a more simpler look. I think I'm gonna put the bow on now. And you know what? Who knows? I might change it later. I might just make another one. So for now, I'm gonna just place this bow a little bit high. I'm gonna put a big old blob of glue there. And I don't wanna cover up my wording. I'm gonna push that down nice and good. And for this particular project, we are done. So again, if you did something simple without like a big bow like this, and you still did the edging and maybe you wrapped the jute around it, you could actually have one design on the front and you could have another design on the back, and this could be like 2 pieces of decor in one. I'm gonna use this, like I said, on my tier tray. It's the perfect size, and I love to change out that tray like seasonal. That's about as seasonal decor as I get besides my Christmas tree. If you come in here like 4th of July, Easter, there might be something on my door, but I will definitely have stuff in my tier tray. So all of my tier tray stuff just fits in a cabinet in my cupboard, but that's what works for me. I feel like I'm decorating, so I can check that box, but I don't have to go all out and store everything and stress myself out. So that is the project for today. If you do end up making one of these, I'd love to see it. If you share it on social, tag us at Christian Craft Paper, and we may feature your design or creation either on our social pages or even in our email to give inspiration to other crafters. So that's it for today. Happy crafting!